Welcome back, everyone. I'm Jason, and you're watching Jason Jensen Trains. In today's episode, we are building the last structure to go right here for this section. I am all out of room, so it's going to be the last one, which is exciting because then we can start doing some scenery work. All right, well, it's a big project, so let's get to it. For today's build, we're going to be using two structures, and it's not really a kit bash because we're going to put this pizza restaurant right next to it. It's actually going to overlap a little bit, but they're just going to be side by side. So the first kit we're going to build is Lamont Camera, and we're not going to put that little building there. We are going to put this little pizza restaurant right there where that little building was. It'll be next to it, but it's going to overlap and maybe go to right there. Now, I've already gotten started on this, so let me show you where we're at. So like you've seen me do in all of my videos, I stained my walls. Well, first, I put bracing on the back of the walls. I then stained the walls, then painted the walls with a yellow, and it is sunflower. And then painted all of the windows, which were plastic, with iced coffee, and then sponged on light buttermilk. Now I'm adding some blue accents, and this is just a light blue spray paint, kind of an aqua color. I also got some letters here that we're going to put up on the roof. All right, now we need to put acetate in the window. None of the windows are glued in, so we'll put acetate and then we'll glue them in place and put some blinds on the back side. Okay, I just glued in all my acetate, and I wish I would have filmed one because I just had someone ask me on my last YouTube video about acetate on windows, and what I do is I take a piece of clear acetate and cut it. I cut it exactly to fit. So I had a whole bunch of windows that were the same size. So I just marked the height of the window on one end, the height of the window on the other end of the acetate, then cut it. So I had one long strip. Then really I just held it there for the width, cut it, cut it, cut it, cut it, until I had them all. Then I lay it on there, then just lay it on there exactly where you want it. Then you take your liquid cement, and it has a really fine brush, so you dip it in, and I do all four sides. And then set it down to dry. Very simple. This is a lifesaver. And you can see it doesn't discolor the acetate, and it's on there permanently. Okay, our signs are all done. Now all I did was I sponged on chipping color. It's just a dark brown, and then sponged on some light metal. Okay, now let's put some window shades on, and let's do something a little different this time. We're going to use light blue and dry brush paint. We'll do the back window first. Okay, before we glue the walls together, we have to put these together. These go at the top. I just glanced again at the instructions, and I'm glad I did. Otherwise, I would have only put the trim up to the top of the walls, how they are. All right, the walls are all glued together. And I've got all my trim, the corner trim, and then there's trim that gets put all around this opening. And we're going to put a storefront in there. You can see all the trim. I just finished the roof. And all I did was took black construction paper and cut it 3/8 of an inch wide. And then simply glued them on. I then did some dry brushing of a dark gray here and there. I then took a black Sharpie and drew lines on it. So if you rest your finger, say on the back here, and use that as a guide, so now you can see I'm using my pinky and really focusing more on my pinky and the pressure I'm putting on the building than the tip of the pen. Okay, what's next? Oh, our trim across the top. Now, this was on the piece that had this, so it all got spray painted a light blue, but we actually want this white. So first we're going to use iced coffee, paint these solid, both sides, because it goes together like that, and then gets put on the corner here. And then we'll sponge on light buttermilk. Okay, I sponged on the light buttermilk. Now let's glue this on. And we're just going to center it. The overhang is kind of long on both ends, so we're just going to flip it upside down. That's better. All right, let's take a break from this and start our pizza. Sorry, I misplaced it. But we're going to start our pizza kit. Here it is. Great. The shop is getting out of control again. I need to really stop and clean it after this project. I think there's going to be a lot of painting involved in this one, but you can see it's a really simple kit to put together. Now we're going to have to do a little bit of scratch building on this one, probably just on the one side for our width, possibly the back, I don't know. This pop out, I don't think we're going to need this. Let's set that aside in case we do. Okay, let's line this up on our grid. We don't need this. And I had some pieces. They're not tall enough. Nah, we'll have to cut it. Well, maybe they are, because this goes up taller. I think those are. Okay, so we have to figure out how far we want it to stick out. Maybe there. And then this back wall, we're going to put that maybe right there. Bear with me, I'm trying to figure this out in my head to get the look that I'm after. But if we use the full length of this wall, put it right there, then let's say we put that there, and then we have that side wall at an angle right there. I'm going to take this over to the layout and see if that length works. Okay, so I took it over to the layout, and the length works. So we'll have that come out from there. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to take this and put that back there. Then here's our little side wall. Okay, and then we have this little wall with the window is going to come out from the side right there. And then this is our front. And then the only thing we have to do is cut a side wall that goes at an angle right here. All right, so we'll get this. Don't need that. We'll get these. Well, first I gotta cut that side wall, and then we'll stain this and paint it. And I think I'm gonna go with the same yellow so that it all just ties together. It looks like it was all built at one time. We'll stain these and paint them and get them glued in place. Then we'll work on the front of the structure. Then we can figure out the length and the angle for this wall. Here it is so far. So again, this will get put right there. And then we need a wall that goes right here. And the more I think about it, I may try to duplicate the front of this. At least maybe half of it, or like say 3 of the windows. Yeah, we're gonna have to definitely do some scratch building on this. Okay, we're going to attempt to figure out the length of that sidewall. I should probably tape this down, but we don't have to be too exact. And we need a corner post. Okay, there we are. Okay, I think I want to do 3 windows. And I have this. Let's see. Okay, we'll put that wall there. And then we have our corner trim, which is a 1/16. Okay, so we have our clapboard siding. Then we have our white piece of trim. Then we have our windows. And that's the same height as the front. There's little tiles on here. And so I'm going to duplicate that on here. Okay, first we'll do the squares that are under the window. Then now we'll figure out the squares on the bottom, the spacing. Okay, so this will be the front, and then we'll cut this and score all the tile, And that will be the side. And then next to that, we'll have a piece of corner trim and siding. Okay, to cut all this out and score it, I'm going to use a brand new blade. So after this is all painted, then this gets put on top of it. And this will be all painted silver. Now the tricky part will be that on this one, we have to cut all this trim to go around all this stuff. So I'll cut long strips that are thin and paint them silver, and then I'll just start to cut them all to length and glue them directly on here after this is painted. Hopefully that all makes sense, but I'm excited. This is going great. Okay, next we're gonna spray paint some light blue on this, but only on the tile part. Okay, I'll quick go spray this. Okay, maybe we'll just leave this on here and paint the white. Now I'm going to go over that red with a regular, just regular red. I put the dark red on it first so that when you put this over it, it's not quite as bright. Where if I would have put this regular red over just the white or the yellowish paper, it would have been too bright. And it's okay if it's not solid, because we're gonna do some weathering on it. Now let's get this painted silver, and then we'll cut some thin pieces, or just simply, I may have some strip wood that I'll paint silver, and maybe we'll use that. Okay, now let's move on to putting our storefront in. So I've put in the ceiling and the sidewall. Now I cut a new sidewall because the wall that comes with it, let's see, I believe this is it. There's a door that's supposed to go there. And there was a sign that said rooms for rent. So I assume you go in that door and straight up the stairs, and then there's rooms up here for rent. But we're not going to do that. So I just made a solid one. Now we've got to get our acetate put in this, and the background that goes in it. Let's see. So I took Eileen's tacky glue and then dipped my brush in it, brushed on the back of it, and then laid the acetate on there. Now we have to put our little background storefront in the window. And if you don't want to mess with gluing it, simply tape it. cut that too close to the top. I'm going to trim a little off so I can tape it. Now, just for some added protection, we'll take some of our Aleene's Tacky Glue. Okay. So I just ran along the sides and then a little bit in the corners. So that way, if the tape ever, I don't know, got old and dried up, hopefully the glue would hold it. So for our pillars, we just simply have to follow the instructions, and there is 4 pieces that go on each pillar. So it really adds some really great detail. So I've got the pillars cut to length, and then I painted these white. Next, we're working on the frame for the lettering for the rooftop. And I want one to be longer so I can just poke a hole and put it in the rooftop. Okay, here is our frame. And before we glue our letters on it, let's add some rust. So we'll take bittersweet chocolate. Okay, not much, that's it. Now looking at this, the top of that sign along the edge there is just too clean, too yellow. So we're going to add some chips to it. Okay, that's better. There's a sign that hangs off the side of the building. So I just cut it out. So we're going to fold this in half and have it hanging off the side. Now if it doesn't quite line up, just trim it so that it's the same. Okay, we'll glue this. Now we'll add some rust. See if I've got a little sponge that's not got dried paint on it. Now we're going to glue some copper wire to the top and the bottom. Now maybe we'll let that sit for a little bit before we glue on the bottom one. And then we'll have to, I'll paint that copper wire with bittersweet chocolate. And then, like I said, we'll drill our holes and glue it in place. Okay, while that's drying, let's get our angled supports on the sign. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we could, I'm going to put some straight ones back here. Now we'll paint our wire and then glue this in place. Now we'll take some Farm Dark Earth pigment and we'll just do some weathering. Okay, I think that is it. Oh, I forgot to weather the door. I put some rust. I just took a sponge with bittersweet chocolate and went over the vent. All right, let's take this over to the layout and see what it looks like. All right, well, that was the last structure for this new section. And I'm so excited because now I can move on to, roads and sidewalks and just scenery. I actually plan on putting 5 to 6 trees in this area. So excited to move on. Fun fact, this section, which is 2 feet wide and 4 feet long, there's a curved track, and I'm counting everything on this side of the curved track. It took 27 structures to build all this. Now, if you take the same section over here, 2 feet wide by 4 feet long, this took 25 structures. And then for both sides, I have 8 boats. So that is a grand total of 60 kits. And you've seen me build all 60 kits on the channel just for these 2 sections. That is crazy. Let's not tell my wife about that. All right, well, like I mentioned in the last video, really what I need to do is fill in this opening over here, which is a closet. And I'm keeping the closet there for a resale value in case someday I do move. But we're just going to put in a big piece of styrofoam and paint clouds on it. Then all this in the back needs to be removed. And we need to glue down all of that styrofoam. Then we can start to lay down track and get all the track completed on the lower level. And right now, that's my goal within the next 3 to 4 weeks. I don't know if it'll happen, but it's a goal that I've set. So, well, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. Please take a moment and subscribe to the channel. And if you liked today's video, give me a thumbs up. And until next time, stay motivated and happy modeling, everyone.